So far, we've created a foundation of knowledge on the types of security threats and techniques for mitigation. Using Jamf Protect, let's build on that foundation and explore the ins and outs of the software itself, and later practice with practical examples of threat detection and mitigation. This is Zach. Let's explore Jamf Protect. We begin on the Jamf Protect dashboard. Here, administrators can find up-to-date information about the status of their fleet. We can see the number of alerts categorized by severity that have occurred over the past day, week, or month, as well as a graph to show trends in when alerts are being triggered. At the top, we can see that we're on the Detections dashboard and can move to either Apple Security or Computers. Apple Security shows the status of the built-in macOS security tools that we learned about in Section 1 for each enrolled computer in Jamf Protect. The Computers dashboard shows us computers that are triggering a high number of alerts over the past week, as well as a quick breakdown of the different versions of Protect, macOS, and the actual hardware across all enrolled Macs. Moving to the sidebar, we can select Insights to navigate to the Insights Overview page. If you remember from Lesson 5, Insights are informative status updates that Jamf Protect provides for enrolled computers. Each of these are based off of a particular profile within the CIS benchmark for macOS. The category of each insight is displayed in white at the left, and each insight card contains a graph to show the number of compliant computers in real time. If we're unsure what an insight is measuring, we can hover over the name to reveal a tooltip with further information. Insights can be enabled or disabled with the switch in the top right of each card. Remember that these are solely informative. Jamf Protect provides this information about our fleet, and it's up to us to determine the best path forward to ensure all computers are compliant. Next, we can select Computers to view a list of all computers that are currently enrolled in Jamf Protect. At a glance, we can see the serial for each computer, what macOS version they're running, when they last connected with Jamf Protect, what threat and protect versions they are running, as well as information about insights and their current plan. We can hover over any of the status or version icons to see more information about that specific computer's status. Enrolling a computer in Jamf Protect will require an MDM solution capable of deploying configuration profiles to Macs. In my case, these computers were enrolled by deploying a profile from Jamf Pro. More on that later. The Alerts page is a commonly visited one for any Jamf Protect administrator. Here we see a list of time-stamped alerts for events that have occurred on our enrolled computers. Each alert is automatically assigned a severity, and the list can be filtered using the Filter button in the column header. We can also assign a status to each alert, New, In Progress, or Resolved, using the checkboxes at the left and the Change Status button in the top right. This is useful if multiple administrators are working in the same instance to avoid working on the same issue in parallel, or for your own visual clarity while working alone. When we first visit this page, the default filters are already set to not display alerts that have a severity of informational or a status of resolved. These filters can be cleared with the X button to the right of each one, and doing so will expose a long list of events that have occurred, such as a USB device being plugged into a computer, screenshots being taken, or launch daemons being created. These are all tagged as informational, since they will naturally occur as a user works on their computer. We can filter the list again to exclude these by using the filter buttons in the Severity and Status column headers. Next, selecting Analytics in the sidebar brings us to a list of all analytics supported by Jamf Protect. If you remember from Lesson 4, many of these are based on the MITRE ATT&CK Matrix and are tagged as such in the Tags column to the right. Each analytic is given a category, such as persistence, execution, or defense evasion, which also corresponds to the tactics from the attack matrix. Each analytic is also assigned a severity: informational, low, medium, or high. These are what informs the severity assigned to an alert. A high-severity analytic being detected will show up as a high-severity alert, and so on. Analytics can be created manually using the Create Analytic button at the top, but this is an extremely precise and technical workflow that's outside the scope of this course. Moving on, plans are security configurations that tie everything together in Jamf Protect: analytics, insights, actions, and more. Each computer in Jamf Protect can be assigned a single plan, and once that plan is deployed to the computer via configuration profile, that computer will begin transmitting data back to Jamf Protect. Each plan can be customized with specific analytics, logging types, insight collection, among others. Jamf Protect comes with a default plan configured that contains all available analytics, but a new plan can be created with the Create Plan button at the top if you need a custom defense configuration on specific computers. Actions are settings that control what data is collected from enrolled computers and how that data is managed in Jamf Protect or elsewhere. Similar to plans, Jamf Protect comes with a default action configuration already set up and ready to use. Select the action and then click Edit to see more information on what an action configuration contains. We have the option to enable or disable sending alert data to Jamf Protect, as well as a minimum and maximum severity of alerts that will be sent. Jamf Protect also supports forwarding unified log data as well as alert data to a third-party SIEM solution. This requires a bit of setup to work, and while we won't demonstrate this today, it's a helpful feature for organizations that need to capture and organize every last bit of data from their users' computers. Finally, we can also customize the data that is sent when an alert is triggered. We can choose from Minimal, which only sends required data from the computer, Everything, which sends all available data, or Custom to choose a middle ground. Next, Threat Prevention is Jamf Protect's built-in malware remediation tool. Similar to macOS's Xprotect, which we learned about in Lesson 3, Threat Prevention will automatically detect, block, and quarantine malicious processes on a computer without any disruption to the end user. At the top, we can see the number of computers enrolled in our Protect tenant that are on the latest version of Threat Prevention, as well as a list of the previous versions. Threat Prevention is curated by Jamf engineers and updated multiple times per week, so be sure to keep your enrolled computers checking in with Jamf Protect to ensure they always have the latest version of Threat Prevention. The next items in the sidebar, device controls, unified logging, and telemetry, are more specialized features that not every organization may use. Device controls allows admins to create rules about what types of removable storage are allowed to be used with enrolled computers. As discussed previously, unified logging allows administrators to forward log data from macOS to a third-party SIEM solution. Telemetry enables admins to forward device activity feeds to SIEM solutions and more granularly control what events are logged and forwarded to keep the volume of data manageable. See the Jamf Protect documentation for more information and to see if these features would be a good fit for your environment. Finally, the administrative link in the sidebar contains settings and controls for admins working in Jamf Protect. Account contains information about your organization's tenant, as well as management tools for users and groups that may be working in Jamf Protect. There are also links to integrate with an SIEM provider, download the Jamf Protect PKG, create API clients for integration with MDM solutions, audit logs, and a handy glossary of terms you'll encounter in Jamf Protect. Now that we have a basic understanding of each of the areas of Jamf Protect, we're ready to dive in and start using all the tools available to us. Be sure to check the Jamf Protect documentation for more information if there are areas you're still curious about. And when you're ready, join us in the next lesson, where we'll explore threat detection tools. Thanks for watching.